Mental Health Awareness Month of May. We've been talking a lot about making connections.
We have, but what do you do if you don't have a lot of social interaction with others? And here to help us out again this week is Dr. Sarah Getch from Kansas City University. So thanks for being with us always this week. So let's start with stay-at-home moms. Many report they're feeling isolated, especially if they have one or more kids. What can they do?
That's right. You know, when you become a mom, things really shift. And the places that you were getting a lot of that social support and the people that you were getting that from, that might change too. So moms need this extra support as they are trying to stave off this isolation and loneliness. So that's really important. But also, as we've researched this more, we've always known social support is important for moms. We know that there are certain kinds of social support that are really important. So emotional, yes, we need to be seen and heard, be able to talk about our feelings. But the other big piece is informational support, and this is why Moms Helping Moms is such a big deal. Because moms need to be able to share that information. Is this eczema, or is this a heat rash? You know, is this teething, or is it something else? And sharing all of that information is a really important kind of support for moms.
What about those who are caring for elderly parents, disabled relatives who may not have time for you know, all of that?
Right. So they have a similar challenge. It's very isolating to be caring for somebody 24 hours a day. And so for those individuals, setting aside time to engage with their social networks is really important. Really giving themselves permission to be able to do that is really important. And if they're looking for the same kind of informational support that our moms need, AARP, their website has great resources, great caregiver connections for them. They could also call their local nursing home or senior living facility, and they'll have resources too.
Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of elderly, what can we do to support older adults, especially if they don't have a significant other and they live alone?
Older adults and social connections it's imperative for their physical and mental health. They will live longer, they will be healthier, their mental health will be better. It's important for all of us, but sometimes we forget how important it is for our older adult friends. And so for our older adult friends, I would really encourage us to think about different ways to be connected, so intergenerational ways. How can we get them connected with younger kids or younger adults so that they can mentor, advise, story tell? All of that is really, really important. That's good stuff. I also like the idea of combining their physical activity with social connections. So a walking group, a gardening group, a yoga group, all of that can also be a great way to really create those connections.
Those are tremendous ideas. I don't want to jump far too ahead, but the last in your series here is going to take place next week. And we're going to talk about building blocks for connections, right? Can you touch on that, about what we're going to be learning next week?
Yes. So you all have been so kind to let me talk about all of the different ways that we can find connections in our lives and how important it is. And so next week I want to talk about the basic building blocks of forming those relationships and those connections. So infants, really, really little babies, 5 to 7 months old, they are actively building all of these connections. And so next week I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, how that happens, and how we study it at KCU.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, so I can't wait to hear more about that, and so maybe some of the results that you've seen from that, right?
Yes, so I have a researcher on my staff who is actively, you know, looking for parents to bring in babies and actively studying these babies. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how she does that and what we know so far about how babies build these connections.
Yeah. It's been great learning all the ways we can build better connections. Older people, younger people, our generation. It's been great.
And I think that there's one big takeaway, you know, not only is this good for our physical and mental health, is that technology can be used to supplement our connections, but not replace them. So this one-on-one, face-to-face connection work that we're doing and that we're talking about really outweighs our ability to use technology. And of course, there are times where we can only use the technology, but remember, it's a supplement, not a replacement.
Love that. Thank you, Dr. Sarah Getch.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great to see you again. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Okay.